Hi, I'm not here today. It's either Monday and Ohio State's going to win the national championship today, or it's Tuesday and Ohio State won the national championship. So either day, it's a great day. I think Ohio State won like 56 to maybe like 21. I think Justin Fields threw for like 9 touchdowns. I think Trey Sermon probably ran for about 240. So yeah, it's a great day. Well, we're learning about eclipses. So you have notes that go with this. You're watching this on YouTube. That's fun. We're going to fill these out as we go. You're only going to do one side. So notice on the back side of this is tides. We're only doing eclipses today. After you watch this video, you're then going to do an assignment. But you have headphones in. You're listening to me. Miss Mall's in the classroom. Please be kind and considerate. I appreciate you guys very much. Let's check it out. All right, well, what's an eclipse? An eclipse is simply when an object gets in front of another object, blocks your view. So like right now, my hand is eclipsing my face. Guys, you'll notice I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for you. Let's see, I'm using a different color here. If it is in yellow, you'll write it down in your notes. So we'll keep that there. Cool. As obviously, if it's in yellow, as we keep going, write it down. All right, eclipses have a lot to do with shadows, and there's two kind of parts of a shadow. There's the umbra and penumbra. And if you look at your chair leg right now, looking around my classroom, you can kind of see that. The umbra is the dark part of the shadow, and the penumbra is kind of that lighter part, and you can kind of see it with all shadows in this classroom. So yeah, literally go ahead, and I'm looking at your chair legs right now in here in an empty classroom. You can see the penumbra is that lighter part, and the umbra is the darkest part of a shadow. Another eclipse vocabulary word is something called the path of totality. And this is, so you guys remember the eclipse from 2017. The path of totality is the shadow that the moon casts on the Earth. We saw a partial solar eclipse, so we did not see the moon fully block the sun. But the path of totality is the shadow that the moon traces on Earth. And please fill in the note above. Okay, so we're going to start with the solar eclipse. Guys, let's look at how we're going to do this. So we have a chart here. We're going to fill in this chart, and I'll kind of show you what mine looks like at the end of each slide. So what is it? A solar eclipse is when the moon is between the sun and the Earth. You guys saw this in 2017. There's actually going to be one in 2024 as well, when you guys are high school sophomores, I believe, that we're actually going to be in the path of totality, we being Columbus. So you'll see it's really cool. So here's how I do this. So I remember the solar eclipse, and I have a video linked later. And the fact is, when the new moon gets in between the sun and Earth, the way I remember the lineup is EMS, which means Earth, Moon, Sun, because if you stare at the sun, you're going to need an EMS, right? Yeah, don't stare at the sun. There's your life advice for the day. So what I would like you to do right now, guys, is I want you to kind of draw this picture on your notes, and I'll show you my picture here shortly. The moon phase that we need, and you think about it, you look at the moon, you saw just a little black dot, right? Well, that's because the moon phase that we need is a new moon. So go ahead and fill out this note. And then I also have a video linked on Schoology. If you want to watch that video right now, you can. Check it. And I don't have it linked here, but in Schoology, there's a link right now. Check it out, of this total solar eclipse in Turkey in 2006. So a really good question that I get all the time is, how come there's not a solar eclipse every month? If the new moon blocks out the sun, how come there's not every one? Is the moon's orbit is tilted. The moon does not orbit around the Earth in a perfectly flat circle. If you notice this picture right here, it's kind of like a hula hoop. Imagine a hula hoop, you had it nice and flat around you, and then you went. The moon's orbit needs to be perfectly aligned with the Earth in order for a solar eclipse to take place. Yeah, here's just another little diagram. Check it out. Of the sun over here, the moon, and then the Earth. EMS is the lineup. And it'll ask you for a picture of the eclipse. This is a great picture. You can see that black dot, and then this fuzzy little thing around it. We call that the corona, and corona stands for a crown, or a ring, crown in Espanol. So you can see that little fuzzy corona is surrounding the sun. I got a couple cool little pictures here. Notice it looks like a ring. You're wearing a ring. Another cool photo. This would be a partial solar eclipse. This is kind of what we saw in Columbus. You can see the new moon start to block the sun. And you don't need to read all of this, but basically solar eclipses are super rare. So the fact that you're going to see 2 in Columbus in like a 10-year period is kind of incredible, because it can take hundreds of years. It could take thousands of years. Sometimes you're going to see them every 10 years like we did in Columbus, but we can do the math and we're going to know like this is going to be the last total solar eclipse in my lifetime, which is kind of crazy to think about. They are super, super, super rare. And a little map. You can see this one in 2017 went across the United States. Another little map there. And kind of cool little steps of the solar eclipse. And again, what moon phase? The new moon. What's the order? EMS. What does it look like? Well, it looks like kind of a corona or a diamond ring. The sun looks like a diamond ring. Cool little shot there. We're moving on to lunar eclipses. So just so you know, this is what I've drawn for the solar eclipse. So I described what it is. Am I getting it lined up? I drew the order. I drew what it looks like. I got that corona shining. What moon phase do I need? I need a new moon. Now a lunar eclipse is pretty darn cool. And again, it has to do with that shadow. There is also a lunar eclipse basics video that I've attached in that Schoology folder. Watch it. It's really good. You can kind of see it. We actually had a lunar eclipse in Columbus, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. And it's when the moon turns a bright red. It's really cool. And it all has to do with when the moon enters the umbra of the Earth. So what is a lunar eclipse? It's when the Earth is between the sun and the moon. And the way to remember that, kind of the trick, so if EMS is the solar eclipse, right? I need an EMS because I can't look at the sun. MES or MES, because the moon, it makes a mess of color when the moon is eclipsed, right? So this is a lunar eclipse. So you can go ahead and kind of write what is it right now in your notes, as well as draw the picture of the lineup, and I'll show you what it looks like. And newsflash, the full moon is what gets eclipsed. So that's the moon phase. Go ahead and fill in that note right now. Again, pause this, check out the lunar eclipse basics video, and have at it. So again, why does the moon turn red? It all has to do with the following. I always describe it like this if I was in class. You know how you see reds and yellows at sunrise? Weird, right? Because of the angle of sunlight, some light gets left behind. That's how I'll explain it to 7th graders today. And the light that gets left behind is red. So that red light is sort of cast onto the moon when it enters the Earth's umbra. And coming up here, I'll show you some kind of cool little time-lapse pictures of that. Sort of here's it here, but the next one's here. All right, check this out. This is lovely. So this is, and you can see the moon start to darken, so the moon will enter the penumbra, and then it will enter the umbra, and it will turn this beautiful red color. And this is a really cool time-lapse picture. So for picture the eclipse, you're drawing a red moon. If you want to go get a colored pencil and draw the moon red, do it. Excuse me, my voice cracked. Color the red moon, and then the moon phase. It's, of course, a full moon. And look at this wonderful GIF. Amazing. Amazing. Notice here the dark part. This is the umbra. And that is the penumbra. Check it out. Another cool little time lapse. And some basics. You can add this to your notes if you want to. But what I want you to know, if I'm looking at a solar eclipse, it means I'm looking at the sun. The moon is blocking it. If I'm looking at a lunar eclipse, I'm looking at the moon. It's a red moon. What type of eclipse is this? That's a solar eclipse. See how it looks at a ring, or it looks like a ring, and then that little fuzzy stuff around it, that's called the corona. Spell it right. All right, cool. I wasted 10 minutes of your time. This isn't a waste. You're learning. All right. What you're going to do now, watch the YouTube videos if you haven't. You have an assignment that you can work on with your neighbor if you'd like. That will also link you to a YouTube video, so you'll still need headphones. Go Bucks. Goodbye.